Hello, welcome back. Today in this video, let us understand related to a fail activity. Fail activity is just one another activity in Azure Data Factory, and let us understand in detail related to this activity and when exactly we can use this in real-time scenario. So before proceeding, if you are new to this channel and haven't yet subscribed for this channel, so I would recommend you to please subscribe and also press bell button for instant notification. Let's get started. So when you see failed activity, right? So failed activity is you can be used in a few scenarios where you want to throw an error intentionally in the pipeline. So you want to show something which is not correct. You want to highlight in your Azure pipeline which is running. So you want to highlight that something has gone wrong. Okay, and that wrong can be a simple warning kind of thing, or it might be an error, exactly a error kind of thing. So you want to notify that something has gone wrong with this fail activity. So even though if you're not using fail activity, in most of the cases, your data factory pipeline might fail, and you might ask me why exactly you're using fail activity. So fail activity can be used in scenarios where you want to make the error message more customized. And in few cases, the data factory pipeline will not throw an error, but still you want to capture those scenarios which shows everything is good, but still you want to show error in few cases, especially the customized error message or code. So let us see how can we customize error message and code in detail. But before that, let's take an example. If you are using a lookup activity, as you know, the lookup activity, if you can see in the previous video, we have explained the lookup activity can be used when we are when you are reading the configuration files or configuration table from a for a particular getting the control details, right? And in such cases, lookup activity might return zero records or no records. So suppose if your intention is to copy 10 files every day, and if your control table is not returning any files, so in that case, your copy activity, which is presided by the lookup activity, output of lookup activity will run, but it will run with the zero records, and the files will not get copied. So in such scenario, if you closely observe, there will be no errors. Okay, it is just skipping, because lookup activity is returning zero records to the copy activity. You don't see any errors in such scenarios, and when you think from the operational perspective, you just see the pipeline as successful. But in real time, you can observe that there are no files copied. And also in when you're using copy activity, say you are already using a copy activity and you are looking for a file. Okay, in that case, if the file is not available, so what happens is your copy activity will fail. And after that failure, you want to kind of write a customized error message with your customized error code, so you can maintain your error code based on your project specification or company specification. So you can customize that error message and error code and send some alerts based on this. So fail activity is mainly used for like these kind of scenarios where you exclusively get errors in the your pipeline will fail, and in some cases your pipeline might not fail also. Everything is looking green, but still you want to consider few scenarios, right? Based on that scenarios, you you want to customize that as a failure, like as you have explained, lookup activity. So yeah, I mean you can think of many other examples. So just we are taking a few example to explain and make the things concept clear here. Yeah. And next we will jump into a demo. In the demo section, we will understand the basics of failed activity, and also let us consider a few real-time cases and explain how exactly fail activity can be used. So as you can see, we are in the Azure Data Factory pipeline section, and I'm going to create a new pipeline here called a PL demo fail. Yeah. So, and then I'm going to, if I want to use a fail activity, so how can I get that fail activities again from this activity pane, where you can just see this, type this fail, and then you can get this fail activity. And this is actually introduced very recently by Azure Data Factory. I mean by Azure basically. Previously it was not there, so it has been introduced recently, and in some scenarios it can be quite handy and useful. So let us take an example, right? So like general tab, it is very simple. Name and description, you can give any name and description to make it more readable. And as you can see, failed message, you can give the dynamic using the dynamic content. You can get the output of the previous say activities, or you want to calculate some date time, whatever you want to have some string calculations, string functions are there. So you can have a date functions, anything for that matter. Like if you want to include date in your error message, like when it failed and other things, you can use date functions. So, and error message also, you can create a customized error codes, basically like error fail message. You can have a error code. So error code can be anything. You can use alphanumeric or just a numeric or just a alphabets. So like that. So this fail activity will be used. So I can just type in a failed pipeline, and error code I can say 101. So if I'm debugging this failed activity pipeline, which is having a failed activity, it will just execute, and now it is throwing an error. So it is showing a configuration issue. And if you closely observe the output, so output is already been given, whatever the output, whatever the message and the error code that we are giving, the same is coming in the output, and you are forcing the pipeline to fail in this. So now let us understand when exactly this particular fail activity can be applied. So in the previous video, we have explained related to the lookup and the for each activity combination, where we can make the copy activity more dynamic. So if you have not watched related to lookup, I would recommend you to watch the video related to lookup in the same playlist. So now, as you can see, the lookup is giving the array value to the for each loop from the control table, and this is our control table. So as you can see, the control table is holding the files that I want to copy. So I want to copy two files dynamically from source to sink, and my source is the blob container, and I want to copy these files in the same container in the output folder. So what I do for that is lookup will dynamically capture the control table details, and it will get the file names which I want to which are targeted to get copied, and that will be given to the for each loop, and for each loop in turn does the copy activity dynamically. So when it is doing the copy activity dynamically, so it will copy both the files, file 1 and file 2, as mentioned in the config db, to the output location. If I just refresh it, so it would have created an output location and copied these both the files from the main folder to the output folder in the same location. So this is the intention that we are doing, right? In the same use case, if I think about applying a fail activity, so what I can do is I can introduce a fail activity here. And this fail activity I can be using after lookup. And that too, if it is actually say the lookup activity is successful, then it will go to the for each loop, right? And similarly, if the lookup activity is failed for some reason, so then I want to show some custom error message here. So in this case, I will just mention some error code, error message like lookup activity is failed. Okay, and in this case, whenever there is a lookup activity failed for some reason, so this will execute and for each will not execute. And you can think a lot of scenarios. Like I can think of one scenario where I can just apply one if condition, and in the if condition I can so just give the output to the output of lookup to the if condition, and after if condition I want to execute for each loop. So in the if condition, what I'm trying to check here is I'll just get the output of the lookup and I'll just do the count. And if count is greater than if the count is less than, say, if the count is equal to 0, for example, right? So in that case, I'll just make so I'll just search what are the functions that we can use for equals. As you can see, it's the equals. So this equals the output of the count that we are giving. If it is equal to, say, 0, okay, if it is equal to 0, then it will return true, right? So in that case, I can place a fail activity here inside inside the if condition, because I'm telling there is no particular records to actually copy, right? See what we are doing, we are getting the lookup activity and the array of the lookup activity, the number of elements we are giving to for each, and then does the copy. So before doing the copy itself, I'm just checking if there is a any rows actually present. If there are no rows, so then I'm just executing the fail activity. As you can see, in the true condition, I'm executing fail activity. If it is 0 records, in the false condition, I'm executing the actual for each loop. So let me try to execute this and see what exactly is not allowed under. Yeah, this is the reason is the data factor doesn't allow basically for each inside if condition. As we explained in the previous video, you can use execute activity and make it and push it to the child activity. We can do that. But that is not our intention here. Our intention is to explain the lookup the fail activity, how differently we can use the fail activity, right? So if you're just thinking plainly, it is like just a lookup activity and a for each activity, as we've seen, and then it is a inside copy activity. But in this case, I'm adding one more if condition which checks does actually the lookup is giving any results. If the lookup is not giving any results, so I don't want to go to the for each activity. Instead, I want to go to the a true condition where I'm just executing fail activity, and your pipeline will get failed. So you can just think about different scenario where you can apply this fail activity to make the pipeline fail with the proper error messages. So what you want, you can give any error message and error code as required. So hope it is useful. Thanks for watching.